Every town in the UK has a roundabout that is hell and nobody wants to deal with at all costs. My hometown, personally, has 3, all close to my house. But what if the whole town were just hellish roundabouts? An entire town just themed around roundabouts. In this video, we're going to be doing just that. A town themed around roundabouts because I have an unhealthy obsession with them, both in Cities Skylines and in real life. To start, all these cities have the exact same name, a roundabout way. Because what a roundabout way to live. Our first city stuck to a grid pattern, as the game likes one. But with every corner, a roundabout. And this weird one-way thing in the middle. I like it. I did this because I never like sticking to the grid. And all my cities end up looking very similar. A mess. But they're my mess, and that's how I play the game. And I decided to try and stick to that. I failed. Here's a weird wheel cog thing going on over here. Because after spending about half an hour playing the game, I just could not bring myself to stick to a grid. The city had all the basic services. However, due to the design of the city, and myself not being able to think on a small scale, the landfill zone had to be in an unlocked tile, just so the residents didn't complain. I placed industrial here too. The traffic flowed smoothly, for there was only about 20 people living there. There was actually a secret objective, a second obsession: traffic. The roundabouts were simply an experiment. Can roundabouts cause traffic? They can, but we'll get to that later. The city wasn't growing the way I wanted it to. One could have said that that was my fault, but I failed to see how. These people were simply roundabout lovers. They weren't forced into the roundabouts. They were just roundabout-loving morons. So I started again. Soon, I know, but I had messed up. And I hate grids. Maybe we'll revisit this design later. I once went to the city of Coventry for an anime convention with some friends, and cried the whole time because of their ring road, and I've never been back. I have used this memory, or perhaps nightmare/trauma, whichever way you'd like to look at it. And now, a roundabout way has become a ring road town. 3 districts: residential, commercial, and industrial. All linked by a road running all the way down one way, roundabouts at the end, and then leading all the way back up with another one-way road. There are 2 entrances into the town. One leading to the industrial estate of the town, and the other leading into the residential area of the town. Sounds good. Wrong. Say hello to Mr. Royden Trejo here. He lives on 782 Strawberry Street. Here he is, idling on his driveway whilst I dox him. Mr. Royden is a senior employee at Chemical Law, and unfortunately, he lives very close to the entrance of the residential area in town. Mr. Royden's commute is all the way through the residential area, through the commercial zones, and then through the industrial estate, going over 6 roundabouts. The way home isn't too bad. Maybe I can make it worse in the future. Let's see. Let's watch our city grow and see what I can do. This city increased to a large village. Still not quite a town, so traffic was still flowing smoothly. But we did unlock highways and large roads, so I did the obvious thing, making this small section into a 6-lane, one-way road. This would give me nightmares, especially if I had different exits, but at the moment it just led to a single roundabout, then a single-lane road, which I hoped would be amusing later. I was kind of seeing where traffic was building up the most, and then making it worse. The biggest traffic build-up was at the entrance of the residential areas, so I focused my time to really mess it up there. It led from a tiny roundabout to a large roundabout, but from there the traffic flowed too smoothly again. Perhaps due to the 2-way roads. I made them single-lane roads. Perhaps that would build up less traffic. if I made them all single-lane roads. Perhaps then traffic would build up, due to there being less lanes to exit to. I'd really messed up. There were times traffic was causing traffic jams, whereas other times it was flowing smoothly, and people were actually happy about living in the city. This isn't what I wanted. So I started again, for a third time. The ring road was a good idea, and I intended to stick to it. But in a different way. I remembered a roundabout design near my own home. It was raised, with a dual cabbageway running underneath, as I imagine many towns have. So I took another page out of my trauma memories and used the raised road idea from Coventry. But unlike Coventry, I had residential primarily inside the ring road. This caused issues later, but this is Cities Skylines, so nothing is normal. Residential was on the inside of the ring. On the far side was industry and pollution, and in random circles, dotted about, was the commercial districts. The idea this time was to have the raised ring road go one way to get to each zone. If you missed your exit, it was time to loop back round again. This is where my nightmare of ring roads stemmed from. We kept missing our exit and I cried in IKEA. Each ring was also a one-way ring road, so if you missed your exit to leave these things, round and round and round you went. Except there was no way to exit the ring. Residents of the city could only enter these and never leave, forced to go round and around and around for an eternity, stopping to use the shops and services again on these rings, but then back to around and around and around. I finally noticed that I'd messed up and created an exit lane for these rings, so that residents could return home to their families, instead of needing to spend an eternity on the rings. Despite it looking weird, lots of crop circle things going on, in my opinion, it looked like the most realistic city I'd ever done. Mostly in the middle, especially when we unlocked low-rent flats, with the raised road running all the way around overhead. Residents nestled on the inside, within the centre a cemetery. Weird place for a cemetery, but I didn't really have anywhere else to put it. With only 600 people, traffic wasn't high. I had areas I knew could possibly be a problem in the future, which was exciting. But for now, I decided to sit back and relax and just watched my city grow, adding things when demand was high enough. Expanding it was tough, but I managed. At one point, I did accidentally build the roads going the wrong way, but I fixed it, it was fine. The biggest frustration was building roads where I wanted them to be. I felt that there were places that would be perfect for another roundabout exit, but the game constantly told me about invalid shapes. At one stage I did accidentally put some roads underground, which was fun. Maybe I could build a city from all roads being underground one day. That could be interesting. After playing for a lot longer than I did for the previous cities, I was finally starting to see the results I wanted. Traffic jams! Traffic was piling up right by the Luce and Amity highways, piling up on three sides, coming into the city, piling up to try and get back onto the ring road, and all because of this roundabout. I would hate this roundabout if I were trying to get into this city. I would be crying at this exit because I just couldn't find a gap big enough to let me through, and no cars were letting me out. I just want to go home. So, this video wasn't really anything. The basic idea though was just me having fun playing Cities Skylines, messing around with traffic and roundabouts. But hey, you made it to the end, so obviously there was something you liked. Let me know in the comments what that was. Drop it a like. If you're new, why not subscribe? If this video is popular enough, I might even make a little series experimenting with other traffic forms, like traffic lights maybe. I'd like to make it to 500 subscribers before Christmas. That would be a swell Christmas present to end the year with. But for now, I have to go look at Christmas jumpers. Goodbye!